Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack the complex stories shaping our world, really giving you that shortcut to being well-informed.
And today, we're diving into someone whose presence, it's just undeniable decades later. The notorious B.I.G.
Absolutely. The music, the image, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But beyond the beats, there's this incredible and sometimes really complex story of an empire, how it was built, how it was managed.
Exactly. This isn't just about music history. It's a real case study, legacy management, valuation, how a family deals with grief and, massive business decisions all at once.
That's our mission today. We want to trace how Biggie's estate went from, an initial estimate of maybe $10 million right after he died?
Yeah, around that.
To this cultural and financial giant valued at over $200 million by 2025. And importantly, the sort of challenges it's facing right now.
It really shows you the power of, smart planning, strategic thinking, especially with something as unique as an artist's estate, understanding the legal side, the money side.
Yeah.
It's key to keeping that legacy alive.
So if you've ever been curious about how these things work, artist estates, IP, protecting a legacy, this is for you.
Yeah.
We'll get into the strategies, the big numbers, the legal stuff.
Okay.
It's quite a journey. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So maybe we should start back at the beginning. The tragedy. March 1997, Christopher Wallace, the notorious B.I.G., is killed.
Just devastating.
And in that immediate chaos, his mother, Valletta Wallace, steps up, takes control of his estate. Can you even imagine the weight of that? Emotionally, practically?
It's hard to fathom, really. Beyond the immense personal loss, she's suddenly thrown into this incredibly complex business situation.
Right.
She's not just grieving, she's now the executor. And for anyone listening, an executor is basically the person legally in charge of managing everything the person left behind, assets, debts, future earnings.
So she had to figure out contracts, publishing, all of that right away.
Pretty much immediately. Identifying assets, dealing with lawyers, making decisions that would shape everything that came after. It's a huge shift from, just being a mother to being a very shrewd business operator almost overnight.
And shrewd is the right word. She made some really smart moves early on, like in the early 2000s, getting the estate's share of Biggie's publishing rights bumped up from 50% to 85%.
That was massive. A huge early victory.
Can you break down publishing rights for us? Why was getting 85% so important?
Sure. So publishing rights, that's the copyright for the song itself, the lyrics, the melody, the actual composition. It's different from the master recording, which is the specific sound recording you hear.
Got it.
By locking down 85% of the publishing, Valletta ensured the estate got the lion's share of the money whenever a Biggie song was played, streamed, used in a movie, covered by someone else.
So basically control over the creative core.
Exactly. Often the most valuable part long-term for a songwriter. It was incredibly strategic, real foresight.
Okay, so she's building the strong foundation. Then, 2005, another big move. The joint venture with Warner Music Group, WMG.
Right. WMG bought 50% equity in Bad Boy Entertainment.
Equity meaning ownership.
Ownership stake, exactly. But, and this is key, Valletta kept joint control.
So what was the play there? Why bring in WMG but keep that joint control?
It was smart. It was about balance. Getting WMG involved gave the estate access to their massive machine distribution, marketing, global reach, stuff you need to really expand a brand like Biggie's worldwide.
Okay.
But insisting on joint control meant the estate didn't lose its voice. They had an equal say in the big decisions for Bad Boy. It prevented them from just being swallowed up. Expansion, yes, but keeping control.
Makes sense. Keeping a hand firmly on the tiller. And this whole strategy of accumulating control, it really paid off, didn't it?
Absolutely. Fast forward to 2020, and the estate manages to acquire full ownership of Biggie's publishing rights. Complete control.
Which, thinking about it now, was perfectly timed. Because something big happened industry-wide just a few years later.
Exactly. September 2023, this was a major moment. Sean Diddy Combs announced he was returning the publishing rights for the Bad Boy catalog back to the original artists and writers.
Including Biggie's estate, Faith Evans.
Writers.
Too, right?
Yes, and this wasn't just, a nice gesture. It signaled a real shift. For years, artists often signed away publishing early on, sometimes regretting it later.
Right.
Diddy's move suggested maybe artists were gaining more leverage, a move away from those old, sometimes criticized label deals.
So, not just good for Biggie's estate specifically, but a sign of changing times. And it must have put the estate in an even stronger position for what came next.
Undeniably, all this careful management, securing full control, it all set the stage for the really big one, the landmark deal.
Which happened just this year, 2025.
That's right, March 2025. Just before Valletta Wallace sadly passed away, she approved this major deal with Primary Wave Music Publishing.
Primary Way, they're a big player in buying and managing music catalogs, right?
A very big player, known for handling iconic catalogs and brands.
And this deal wasn't just about some music publishing anymore, was it? What did it cover?
No, it's much broader. Primary Wave bought 50% of the entire Notorious B.I.G. estate.
The whole thing.
Well, half of it. So, yes, the song's publishing and masters, but also his name, his voice, that iconic image, other trademarks, the whole brand identity, essentially.
Wow. And the price for that 50%?
Reportedly, over $100 million.
Over $100 million.
Yeah.
For half. So that deal alone basically confirms the entire estate's value at over $200 million.
That's the math. Yeah.
Just incredible. Thinking back to that initial $10 million estimate in '97, what drove that massive growth?
Several things, really. First, Biggie's music is just timeless. It keeps generating money, sales, streaming, it's constant.
Okay.
Second, Valletta's early move on publishing, crucial. Third, how they actively licensed his image and brand. The merchandise, the Notorious buyer pick in 2009, keeping him culturally relevant.
Wayne Burrow, her co-manager, was involved there too, right?
Yes. Wayne Burrow played a big role in expanding the legacy through those media and merchandising deals. And finally, protecting the brand legally, making sure unauthorized uses were stopped.
So it was a multi-pronged strategy.
Definitely. Valletta Wallace, who passed in February 2025 at 78, she really built something incredible, took her son's art and turned it into this lasting cultural and financial force. Quite a legacy she left.
A truly remarkable job.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to today, 2025. We've seen the growth, the strategy.
Yeah.
But now things are, well, evolving again. New complexities, especially with ownership changing. What's the setup now?
Right. So the ownership is now split 50-50. Primary Wave Music Publishing has their half the music, name, image, trademarks.
And the other 50%.
That remains with Valletta Wallace's estate, and her share passed to her grandchildren, Biggie's children, Tiana and C.J. Wallace.
Okay, so you've got a major music company sharing ownership with individual family members.
Exactly. And while that's not uncommon, it can definitely lead to different perspectives on how things should be managed, potential friction points.
And it seems like some of that friction is surfacing now in court. It sounds complicated, but there's this lawsuit involving Wayne Burrow and Faith Evans.
Yeah, this really throws a spotlight on those potential tensions. So, July 2025, Wayne Burrow, who is the executor for Valletta Wallace's estate.
The person managing her affairs after her passing.
Correct. He filed a suit against Faith Evans, Biggie's widow. She is currently the sole manager of Biggie LLC.
Which is the company holding the assets.
Basically, yes. It's the legal entity managing the estate's business operations.
And what's Burrow alleging?
The core claim is that Faith Evans, in her role managing Biggie LLC, hasn't distributed money from that big $100 million Primary Wave deal.
Where was that money supposed to go?
According to Burrow's suit, into something called the Wallace Trust. This trust was set up specifically to fund the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation.
The charity Valletta started.
Exactly. The foundation supporting kids' education and helping mothers of deceased musicians. Burrow is saying Evans hasn't recognized the trust as part of the company's structure, essentially blocking its share of the funds.
So it's about the money, but also about honoring the agreement and the foundation's future. Mismanagement claims, too.
Yeah. It touches on alleged violations of the 50-50 ownership agreement and broader mismanagement of the company's assets.
How serious could this be for the estate's future?
It's pretty significant. These kinds of disputes show there are real tensions over control and maybe even the direction of the legacy.
Right.
The outcome will definitely shape future management, how money flows, how the philanthropic side operates. And internal conflicts like this can sometimes affect how the outside world sees the estate, potentially making future deals more complicated. It's a tough situation when family, business, and legacy all collide.
Absolutely. And it's not just internal legal issues. The estate's also been very active protecting Biggie's IP externally, hasn't it? There were lawsuits against retailers earlier this year.
Yes, February 2025. The estate and also the photographer Baron Clybourne sued retailers like Target, Home Depot, Nordstrom, Bed Bath & Beyond.
What was that about?
Unauthorized merchandise. Specifically, canvas prints of that iconic King of New York photo.
The one with the crown, taken right before he died.
That's the one. It's become the image associated with him. Hugely recognizable, incredibly valuable.
So the estate and the photographer are saying, you can't just sell that without permission.
Exactly. It's about protecting the intellectual property, the image, the likeness, sending a clear message that unauthorized use won't fly. They need proper licensing, proper compensation. It shows they're serious about controlling every aspect of the brand.
Which makes sense given the value we're talking about. So let's talk about that enduring influence, the $200 million valuation. Where does that money actually come from day to day?
It's really diverse. You still got the core music revenue sales, and especially streaming now, of classics like Ready to Die, Life After Death. They're constantly being discovered by new fans.
Still staples.
Absolutely. Then there's merchandising, clothes, collectibles, all that stuff using his image. It's huge.
You see Biggie shirts everywhere?
Constantly. Then licensing is massive. Using his music or image in movies, TV shows, ads, video games, that keeps him embedded in current culture.
Right.
And finally, you have dedicated media projects, documentaries, the notorious biopic we mentioned, maybe even digital things in the future. All these streams work together to keep the legacy not just alive, but thriving financially and culturally.
But it's important to stress, it seems like it's not just about the money for the estate, right? There's that community impact side, too.
Definitely not just money, and that really goes back to Valletta's vision and perhaps Biggie's own spirit. The Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation is a key part of the legacy.
Supporting education, helping other families.
Exactly, providing scholarships, resources for kids, honoring mothers who've lost musician children. It connects back to themes in Biggie's own music, social justice, empowerment. It ensures his impact goes beyond the charts and into real community work.
So, wrapping this up, we've tracked this incredible story. Biggie's estate, starting from tragedy, meticulously built by Valletta Wallace into this major business and cultural force.
An amazing feat of management and vision.
But now it's in this new phase. Multi-generational ownership, a big corporate partner, and these unfolding legal complexities we've discussed.
It really highlights how an artist's legacy can keep growing and generating value long after they're gone if managed well. But it also shows that success at this level brings its own set of complex problems, balancing the money, the family dynamics, the charitable goals. It's tricky.
Which leaves us with some big questions, doesn't it? As these legal things play out and the estate juggles making money with its philanthropic side, what does the future look like? How do you balance an artist's financial legacy, control over their art, and all these different interests, family, business partners?
And how does the sheer power of Biggie's work itself keep influencing these really high-stakes decisions, even now? It's something to think about. Maybe next time you hear Juicy or Hypnotize, there's a whole empire working behind those rhymes.